So many YouTube channels I have watched, people who are making twin flame related videos, that you are not supposed to chase, supposed to, the word supposed to in double inverted commas.
I have even seen, some twin flames taking pride in saying, I have overcome that chasing feeling. So I'm not going to message my twin, or I'm not going to initiate contact. As if it's an achievement.
So many people are stuck in this running chasing label forever. So much so that they can't even see anything beyond the running chasing dynamic. They consider themselves as a chaser and their twin flame as a runner of all time. And all they navigate through is the running chasing stuff, and they get stuck there. All depends upon your attitude, and that attitude also is closely related to your ego. If you have too much of ego, you cannot have a positive attitude to bad things happening to you.
What I have seen is that there is a certain pattern to the thinking, or you can even see it in the language or the words that people use. What I have seen is that when people start finding about this label, and they go through all those YouTube channels and whatever people are saying, they kind of start using the label itself to maybe bypass some of the work that needs to be put on this journey. Like they have certain preconceptions, or this is how it is. So I would just like to thrash some of those ideas along with you, using the example of how you did it when you were standing at that same point with Prasad in the book, right? So I'm just calling it like a spiritual bypass here, because I thought that this is the right time where we are actually acknowledging that we are on a spiritual journey. We know what it is. We think we have figured it out in our mind, but then we start using that spiritual excuse to not really, make progress or move forward, right? So one of the, I would call as the spiritual bypass number one, right? What I see is that when people feel rejected, or they are rejected in a way by their twin, they kind of start feeling that this is how it is supposed to be, right? Like, because this is a twin flame connection, it is supposed to be toxic. My twin would be treating me harshly, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like that sort of victim consciousness comes in, like there's nothing that I can do about it. And then they just stay stuck in that situation for I don't know how many years, right? Whereas in your case, when you had that initial argument or fight, which I think we all have heard about from you on your channel, and otherwise, you didn't kind of like just sort of give it up, right? You rather took it as a challenge to then, prove yourself, come up to that level where, you thought you were worthy enough. So you kind of use that as a motivation to then grow, both in your personal life as well as spiritually. So would you like to talk about it?
I think again, the whole credit goes to this particular thing, that I was not associating my experience with any belief system. So if I look at that whole era where I was experiencing this, it was so soul crushing, where you are having this intense special feeling. That time I didn't even understand that I was falling in love with him, or this was love, because I was just teenager, 14-year-old. What I could actually know when it comes to love and relationships, nothing. That whole very severe impact of his rejection, or his abandonment, which he completely put me on blacklist, and he stopped even talking to me or looking at me. That was very harsh, but there was always this gut feeling telling me that this is not true. There was something which used to tell me that this person will understand. I still can't understand that why I was getting this signal so strongly. More than why, how come I was getting that signal so strongly? And at the age of 14, I did not have much ego, or probably it was a maturity of my soul that I could understand, or I could really go into the depth of what this connection was about. And I started working on that rejection positively. through my inner guidance that, okay, I don't want to give up. Even if he says bad things to me, somewhere I knew that he's not bad. It is his misconception, and that is why he is saying all these things, and this can change. I had this innate belief that it will happen. Probably as a teenager, it was also very difficult for me to navigate through it, but still my inner guidance has put me on the right path even then. Does that answer your question, or I'm drifting away
No, no,
somewhere?
no, it does. It does. I think that's the point that I was trying to bring out, is that you can take it either way, right? You can either just feel completely devastated with what has happened to you and, think either lose self-worth, or just think negatively about the person himself and say, this person is not worthy of my love or my feelings.
Yeah.
So either you can, counter reject them
Yeah.
as what they have done to you, or you can take it as a motivation or as an inspiration for you to then figure out and navigate this journey as to why this is happening to you. Is it happening for a reason? And then, start going.
Yes.
This
And somewhere I feel that it all depends upon your attitude.
True.
And that attitude also is closely related to your ego. If you have too much of ego, you cannot have a positive attitude to bad things happening to you. You will always victimize yourself, or you will always end up blaming the other person. But if you know that you are a seeker, you are here to learn and you are here to go into the deeper aspects, probably you would stay on your path. And this, in my case, this happened very unknowingly. I was not dissecting all these happenings the way I am talking now. Now I have realized all these things, but at that time I had no clue. It was a very natural response coming from my side that I don't want to give up. There is such a strong innate feeling in my heart, or knowing in my heart, that I don't want to give up, come what may.
I
So
think that was sort of recognition, or we can say divine guidance, that you were feeling, even though you probably didn't know what spirit guides were back then.
yes.
Like you say, we can call it intuition or guidance, but it was following your heart in a way, right? So
Yeah.
which is the right way of navigating this journey, right? The second question, again, it's a spiritual bypass, number two. What people start thinking after a while being on this journey, or this is all divinely orchestrated, right? So I can't do anything about it. Like, this is just like I have to just sit and wait for the divine to do something. There's nothing, within my control. So again, victim consciousness, right? What would you like to say
Oh
about
God, I have so many things to talk about it. On so many YouTube channels, I have watched people who are making twin flame related videos, that you are not supposed to chase, supposed to, the word supposed to in double
it?
inverted commas. You are not supposed to do this. You just focus on yourself, or you go with the divine timeline, or whatever it is. But somewhere, what I have learned on my journey is that this journey is a combination of a divine plan and your free will. If everything was a divine plan, you didn't have to be here in the physical body to experience what you're experiencing. You could have been in the 5D as a soul and live whatever you are supposed to live. So as you are here in the physical body, you do have a free will, and the way you navigate your journey and the way you think how you want to manifest your life and your journey is completely in your hands. So your actions are equally important. And I think in my book also it would come through that what I decided, what I wanted to do, my actions were important in my journey. Without my actions, I wouldn't have reached a particular milestone in my journey if I had just waited for the divine to come to my rescue. And of course, divine is there, divine is always there, but divine is not serving you on the silver platter. You have to do your hard work, or your whatever is your role, you have to play that role. And many people are not understanding that, especially these typical conditioning which people have. The guy has to initiate, I will have to wait, oh, why I have to always initiate, why the other person can't initiate, or if I do this then it becomes chasing. I also want to talk about the running chasing. Running chasing is a state of mind, and you don't need to make it a so much larger than life kind of a scenario. I observe so many people are stuck in this running chasing label forever. So much so that they can't even see anything beyond the running chasing dynamic. They consider themselves as a chaser and their twin flame as a runner of all time. And all they navigate through is the running chasing stuff, and they get stuck there. It is also indicating that you are buying into this belief system of running chasing, and you see everything through that perspective, and that's why you can't see anything else if it is happening around you. It's your ego mind who says that you are the chaser, they are the runner, and if you are the chaser, then you are not supposed to do a certain thing, so you hold back even when your heart is telling you something. There is some guidance coming to you, but your ego is telling you you are not supposed to chase, so you don't do it. So it's like buying into a belief system and falling into the trap of a belief system rather than listening to your heart. This is like a big time hurdle I see around.
I think that was exactly what I wanted to bring out from this point, and you have really expressed it well. That I have even seen, some twin flames taking pride in saying, I have overcome that chasing feeling, so I'm not going to message my twin, or I'm not going to initiate contact, as if like, it's an achievement. But that's not really what is being asked of in this journey, right? Because that again is an ego trap for you, where you start, because it's again like, I am not going to do it, he has to, or
right.
So yeah, I would just encourage people to understand this point properly, as how Pradnya has pointed out. There is no supposed to be here, right? It's more of it will depend on the scenario, on your situation. If your heart is telling you this is when you have to contact.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, if your heart is telling you to contact them, please contact them. And in my journey, when I was running away from this whole action that I feel like contacting, but I don't want to, out of whatever inner issues I have been running from making that action. So many signs have been bombarded on me that you are contact, through my dreams, through some other unfoldings in my life. Everything was coming to this one message that contact him. So if you're listening to your inner heart or your divine guidance, you will receive these guidance when you are supposed to. Now again, I'm using this word supposed to in a different light, that when you are actually by the divine intervention, when you are supposed to contact them, and if that message is coming to you, follow it. But most of the people are stuck in this ego thing that no, I will not, because I don't want to be a chaser. So
like I said, yeah, I think it's that whole misconception of what this running chasing and why is it there, so probably the question needs to be about the why here so much, rather than we just following some sort of rule book which is not even ours, and is handed to us by somebody on YouTube.
Exactly.
I think and your book, your story kind of illustrates that very well. You took action at every point, regardless of what his response was, right? It was not just like one time. You took action every single time, and that's when we see that it did bring about a change in your story, right? So that's very important here.
Every moment, only your thought. Every cell of my mind and body is filled with your memories. In the deepest core of my soul, there are only your imprints. Every single word I utter, every single note I strike is for you. Shapes, colors, songs are for you. You are in everything. Without you, there is nothing. You are the inspiration. You are the disappointment. You are the light. You are the darkness. You are the past. You are the future. The present is also you. You, and only you. This you doesn't have a beginning, does not have an ending. This you in me is eternal. unending, always having its existence, sublime, that which won't separate from me, non dual,